Guys, welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Hippie podcast. My name is Shikha, as always, and in this episode, I wanted to speak to you guys about patterns of thinking and patterns of thought. Recently, I've been doing a very specific kind of meditation. I think I've been doing this for maybe last 2-3 weeks, and I've been noticing a big tendency in my thoughts to move to a certain direction. The meditation itself is a deep concentration meditation. And in the meditation, all I do is focus on a very small area on the inside of my nostrils. And I focus on it and focus on how the breath moves in and out of my nostrils. And that's all I do for half an hour. Now, as you can imagine, it is extremely tough. It's one of the hardest meditations I've ever had to do. I've kind of gotten used to doing the other kinds of meditation, the body scan meditation, the gratitude meditation, all the other ones. It's kind of like practice for me that I've done for so long that it's part of me. It's all right. I can do it. Some days are bad, but most days are pretty good. Whereas with this deep concentration meditation, I've been noticing that it's really difficult for me to even hold my attention upon that small sliver of my nostril for longer than maybe 10 seconds. My thoughts constantly get pulled into different directions. I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that. I'm constantly thinking about all of the other different things in the world rather than my breath and my nostrils. Now, obviously, it's not a very interesting thing to focus on, so obviously my brain gets bored and my thoughts move in all the different directions that it wants to be distracted by. But I've noticed that there are very specific patterns of thinking that my brain moves towards. It's really, really fascinating to me because I thought that I would have a billion different ways of thinking and a billion different thoughts that would pop up and here and there and everywhere. But I'm noticing the more I watch my thoughts and the more they move in the similar directions that I have very few thought patterns that I go into every single time. It's the same old thing over and over and over again. A lot of times, obviously, it is the things that I need to do with my day. So my brain will be occupied with my to-do list. I'm thinking about, I need to do this, I need to go here, I need to pick up this, I need to call this person. And instead of letting myself meditate and think about my to-do list after, I'm focusing all of my meditation time on my to-do list. Some other times, I'm thinking entirely about a dream that I had just now because I usually do my meditation right after I wake up, which means that all of my time is spent thinking about that dream and how weird it was and why did I dream that? What does that mean? What does it mean if you dream about a spoon? What does it mean if you dream about this particular kind of music? What does it mean if you dream about blood? And so my entire space, my mental space, is occupied by my dream. And what does it mean? Other times I'm daydreaming, I'm thinking about all of the different things that I want to accomplish and how my book is going to be published and it's going to be a bestseller and I'm going to make millions of dollars, la 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 la, right? But I noticed, as I said before, that even though I thought that there'd be a billion different ways that my mind would process information and a billion different thought patterns, there's actually really 2 or 3 only, maybe maximum 5 or 6 different directions that my mind moves towards. And that really made me think, because that really made me feel a little bit ashamed of myself. It made me feel a little bit bad about myself because I thought I was very creative in my thinking, and I used to think that I had all these interesting ideas and thoughts, but in fact, I don't. In fact, my thoughts and my patterns are really, really mundane and really boring, and they move in the similar directions every single day. And I would have only noticed this, the only reason I did notice this is because I started watching my distractions, my thoughts when they are distracted, my thoughts when I'm trying to concentrate, when I'm trying to focus on this very little space, the space in my nostrils, and I'm trying to focus on my breath, and instead of focusing on that, my mind keeps on moving forward and backwards, up and down, here and there, but always in the same direction, always in the same kind of thought patterns. The reason I mention this is not because I want to berate myself in front of 100,000 people or people that download my podcast, but because I gained a really important lesson from this. The lesson was that I think it's important for us to watch where our thoughts go to when we are distracted. Where do they go to? Where are they flowing towards? Because that'll give us a clue on what we're interested in, what we want from our life, what we want more of, what we want less of, and things like that. It teaches us about ourselves. Now, that's what I've started doing for myself as well. And that's how I knew in the beginning when I started this life of becoming a digital nomad and starting this podcast and starting all the different things that I did creatively. I only knew that I wanted to do this because I noticed my brain patterns or my thought patterns constantly went in that direction. I constantly was thinking about becoming a digital nomad, being location independent, quitting my job and moving to different countries, living in different countries, meeting different people from all over the world, starting my online business, starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel, becoming that person that has a voice that can be shared with hundreds of thousands of people. And I constantly, no matter what I was thinking about, no matter what I was doing, my thoughts constantly went in that direction. Every single time I had a few moments to sit and breathe and think, my thoughts would go in this direction. And so I realized very quickly, thankfully, that I was interested in this, that this is important to me, that it mattered to me, and that I should be spending more time on making it happen, right? This is exactly the same thing that I want you guys to think about. What are the different thoughts that you guys have on a constant daily basis? Where do your thoughts move to on a constant daily basis? When you get distracted, or when you daydream, or when you're just sitting around thinking about things that you love, or just spending your time, wasting your time in time pass or daydreaming or night dreaming, where do your thoughts go? Where do your thought patterns divert towards? What are your distracted thoughts moving towards? Where are they always going to? One of the thought patterns I always have is, finishing my book, publishing it with a good publishing house, and then receiving accolades for the fact that I've written a book that makes people think and makes people believe in a better world. That's the kind of thing that my thought always moves toward, right? So that's something that I know that I want to accomplish with my life before I die. It's really important to me because it comes up over and over and over and over and over again in my thought processes. No matter how much I try to pull myself back into thinking about something else, I always drift back to thinking about the same thing, which means, obviously, that it's important to me. And it's a really, really good way of realizing for yourself as well, what is important to you? What do you really care about? And what do you want to move towards more? I would never have known that I wanted to become a digital nomad, that I wanted to live this lifestyle if I hadn't started paying attention to my thought processes and how they always constantly move towards this particular thought, that I want to live in different countries, that I want to move from place to place, that I want to start my online business, that I want to be location independent, that I want to have the freedom to do this. It was really, really important to me, and that's why it kept on coming up over and over and over again in my thought processes. That's why I kept on thinking about it over and over again, especially when I was distracted, when I was bored, when I was just sitting around doing nothing. It was important enough for me that it came up over and over and over again. The same thing matters to you. I'm sure there are certain thoughts in your own head that come up over and over again as a pattern. They come up today and tomorrow and the day after, over and over again, no matter what you're doing, no matter how much you try to pull yourself away from that thought, it comes up over and over again. It's really important that as an individual, you start paying attention to what is that thought? What exactly is it telling you? What exactly is it trying to make you do? What exactly is it trying to tell you to do, right? What path is it telling you to take? There is a certain lesson to be learned from this. Now, you don't necessarily have to start doing a deep concentration meditation for that. I'm sure you know of certain thought patterns that are apparent for you. I'm sure you already know which thought patterns are always the kind of thought processes or daydreams that you go towards. I'm sure you know when you sit down and you're just bored or sitting around thinking about things or you're daydreaming, there's always probably a particular dream that comes up for you over and over again, a particular idea that pops up over and over again. Those are the ideas, those are the daydreams, those are the processes or thoughts that you need to pay attention to because they're telling you something. They're telling you what's important to you. They're telling you what you should be paying more attention to. They're telling you what you should be doing more of. And they're telling you what you should be bringing more of into your life. Really, really important stuff. They're trying to teach you something. Of course, a lot of us, what we do, as I did for the longest time, is I ignored it. It was easier to do that. It's just easier to ignore it. I'm just going to ignore it. But as soon as I started paying attention to it and I started bringing those things into my life, those thought processes disappeared. Now, I don't daydream about becoming a digital nomad because I've already achieved it. Now, I don't daydream about, living in different countries and doing all that because I have done it. Now I dream about writing a book, publishing a book, and becoming that kind of a person. That's what's important to me now. And now, because I have been paying attention to my thoughts, I know that I need to start working towards that goal. It's so simple, but it's so difficult at the same time. Again, I hope this makes sense to you guys. I hope that you will yourself start paying attention to your own thought processes and your daydreams and start seeing patterns in them. Start paying attention to it to see, what do you want to do with your life? What are the patterns that you want to follow in your life? What are the thoughts that keep on coming up over and over again? And that'll give you a lot of insight into yourself and the way you want to live your life. Again, if you guys have any questions at all, please message me anytime. My email address is boomshikha@themillionairehippie.com. And I shall see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.